Welcome to the new normal. My name is Brandon and I'll be your moderator for this episode. The New Normal is a show where we ask industry-leading experts how they are dealing with working during lockdown, what they've done to make their business more secure, and how remote life has changed their day-to-day. This is a loosely structured, friendly conversation and Q&A centered around a panel, with new guests on every episode. Topics will cover everything from business-related recommendations to funny Zoom stories and just having a fun conversation that we hope you can feel a part of and have fun with us. So without further ado, let's get into the show. Kyle!
How are you?
I am good. How are you?
Hang in there.
Hanging in there.
Besides this window. Okay, here we go. Woo! Party! I was thinking of adding a better microphone. How do I sound? Do I sound okay?
Yeah, sound fun.
Yeah, you sound great on my end.
Okay, cool.
It's
I'll
nice
do
to
a
see your
better
face.
microphone on the next podcast I do.
There you go. Yeah, somebody asked me if I was going to invest in a bunch of like podcast mics and stuff. And I was like, I mean, not really, because I don't think that the people that I invite on will all have fancy microphones. So I think.
Yeah, but Brandon, when you're as pretty as you are, you don't need fancy equipment.
True that.
I understand that one. I mean, look at this.
Right.
Yeah.
For
Right?
sure.
Yeah.
I don't like to brag, but
When you got it, you got it.
that's it. Oh, hey. Nice axe.
Oh, there you go.
Nice.
Yeah,
So who actually plays the guitar?
oh, that'd be Kyle. That would be Kyle. There
I
we go.
tuned mine the other day. That's a start, right?
That's something, Aaron.
We could do a little music intro.
Yeah, I was just saying some music.
Yeah. Okay. Let's jam out an intro really quick.
What other instruments do we have? Can we put together a band?
We need a jingle. Brian.
Someone
Breathe
needs to play
directly
triangle.
microphone.
Brian can use his head as bongos.
I can, yeah.
I've
It
seen it.
makes
that?
a tremendous hollow.
my
I got my
God.
electric bagpipes.
Oh my.
Oh,
God.
that is beautiful.
Well, this
Yeah.
show.
Hear it.
Oh,
Okay.
no, you don't want to hear it.
You
Oh boy.
win.
I want to hear some pipes.
Oh boy.
It only counts if you're wearing a kilt.
Well, this show just went in the toilet.
How are you coping? I bought electric bagpipes.
That's awesome. I love it.
So,
Nope.
so what'll be the format? Like, people come on, and are we the only ones talking? Like, what's the setup? How does it work?
Yeah, so the panelists will be the only people with their cameras on and the only ones talking. The people watching can submit questions in the chat window if they want, and I'll take those when appropriate, or if I like them, or if I don't like them, I'll just leave them. And I'll just do my best to make sure that people keep their cameras off and mute people, have everyone muted. But yeah, ideally just the panelists, which is you and Aaron, Steve, Brian, Nick.
Right. It was quiet, too quiet.
And that's when they knew.
So we should have the background music playing.
The Zoom is coming from inside the house. I'll be here all week. Well, I've been here for 6 weeks, but whatever.
Yeah.
And probably 6 more. So
Don't forget to tip your waitress. Try the chili.
It's Old Man Withers in a Brandon mask.
Old Man Withers.
I'm making some coffee. Anybody want one?
Please.
Okay.
No, thanks. I already have
Yeah.
coffee.
Okay.
1 sugar, please.
I've got my giant water. This thing has made me so happy. These are 32-ounce tumblers I got off Amazon.
Oh,
They
wow.
make me very happy. I don't have to go back to the spigot.
Oh, yeah. You were always running back and forth at Catalyst for water between calls like a madman.
I know, because Abby and Colby bought these tiny little glasses and tiny little forks. They're like not for real people. Oh, hey, you guys are here. Oh
my
Perfectly
God.
normal size glasses.
Wow. I
Oh
didn't-
my gosh.
Oh, my gosh. So
I really
guess-
missed you, Kyle.
I'm guessing the kombucha is still out.
Why, yes, it is. Thanks for asking.
I'm so happy Aaron decided to make coffee right now at 10:03. Thanks, Aaron.
At least
least
perfect.
he's not kicking it off, though.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah.
true. Giving me intro from his espresso machine.
And I think time and days of the weeks are now officially optional.
I
What day
agree.
is it?
It's
It's
Thursday.
April Day still.
I know that.
Yeah, yeah. Kyle messaged me on Slack the other day, on Tuesday, and was like, "Okay, so what are we doing? How are we doing this thing tomorrow?" And I was like, "Well, it's on Thursday." I was like, "Right. Today is
That's
Tuesday."
what I said.
Yeah, my meeting reminder went off yesterday, and I opened my calendar, and I was like, what day are we on? Which meeting am I looking for? And I couldn't find the little line from Google to tell me where I was, so I didn't know. I was like,
I've made the mistake of working on the weekend too, so now it's just like I don't even know.
yeah, it all blurs together, and
Now I have no idea.
I had to explain to a customer of ours that they shouldn't use the same meeting invite for every meeting because I accidentally clicked on the wrong one and joined another meeting.
It's easier that way.
Yeah, well, I get it that it's easier, but yeah, I was sitting there for a few minutes. I'm like, I don't think this is the meeting I need to be in.
I mean, it's easier to Zoom bomb. I really.
You're always invited, though. That's nice to know.
Yeah,
Right.
You're always welcome. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Zoom door is
Well,
always
I'll
open around
not
these
go so
parts.
far as to say welcome, but
that's also how I ended up on this one, I think.
What is this thing anyway? Why am I here?
it's going to be
Who are you
hard
guys?
to use the mute
And
button.
our guest speaker for today.
Different group.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Now Nick will
Cool.
spend the next hour talking about. Go.
Alrighty. Well, it's 10:05. I say we kick things off, and I'll let people join in as they come. But yeah, I say we get going. Everybody ready? Everyone have their coffee? Aaron? Good.
There you go.
Coffee.
What's that, Brandon?
Alrighty. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the new normal. My name is Brandon. I will be your moderator for the morning. The new normal is where we ask industry experts how they are dealing with life during lockdown. How has their day-to-day changed? What are they doing to make their business more secure? I work in security, so I will be asking those questions. This is a loosely structured, friendly conversation with a little bit of Q&A, where we cover everything from business-related topics to your funny assumed stories. How many times do you take calls from your underwear? Are you in your underwear right now? And I don't need proof on that. Keep your cameras up, everybody. But yeah, I want to kick things off and introduce our panel. We have Aaron Cure here. He is a principal security consultant at Cypress Data Defense. He just waved. Steve
Did
Costin.
wave.
Yeah, I know. I said he just waved.
And just to be clear, I'm not wearing pants.
Okay, good. Now we're all on the same page. Steve Costin, another principal security consultant at Cypress Data Defense. We have Brian Marshall, CTO at Lark Security. Nick Angadi, CEO of Lark Security. And our celebrity guest for the week, Kyle Shannon, CEO of StoryVine. Hi, Kyle.
I know nothing about security, and I hate good passwords.
Perfect.
Ooh.
Two-factor authentication.
Start.
All right, we're gonna have a
Circle
throwdown
shakes
there.
the square.
Alrighty. Cool.
That
I
was
want to.
Storyvine, right?
Hold on.
That's StoryVine.com.
Kyle, what was his last name? Shannon? Okay. When's your birthday?
Yeah. I'll be doxxed before this half hour is over.
Here's my hoodie.
Okay, well, Kyle, I want to pick on you first. So, if you could talk a little bit about StoryVine, and kind of what drove the need for when you started with Monique years ago. What do your clients do? How does it promote their business? Your offering? Is it primarily for entertainment, for sales? What's the product all about?
Great. So yeah, StoryVine is, we're an 8-year-old company. Our birthday is tomorrow. We'll be 8 years old
Yay.
tomorrow. May 1st. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. StoryVine's a guided video platform, which probably means nothing to anyone, but basically what it means is we allow our clients to capture stories from anyone that they want to capture stories from. So we do a lot of work in healthcare and pharma. So we work with Pfizer and Merck and Novartis, and they use our technology to allow patients to tell their patient stories and and doctors to share patient education or peer-to-peer kind of stuff. We also do a lot of work in the advocacy and nonprofit space. So we just started working with the ALS Association. We're working with Komen. We work with a lot of education associations. And so we're doing a lot of work on that front. What our tech does is it's guided video. So we have an app that guides an end user step by step through telling a story. So if it's a patient, they get prompted to answer a series of questions. So it might be, when were you diagnosed and how did that feel? How have you treated it? And how are you feeling today? And what are your hopes and dreams for the future? So it literally walks someone through telling their story, kind of like karaoke for storytelling. And then those clips go up to the cloud. They get automatically edited automatically in about 5 minutes. And then there's a whole back-end system where they can manage and approve that. And on the security front, we've been through security audits with Pfizer and Merck and United Healthcare, and we've sort of been through the gauntlet and pen tested and things like that. So security is really important. And a big part of what we do is make what is effectively user-generated content, but make it safe for pharma. And you can create incredibly authentic video, but do it in a way that's safe and secure, and you can review it before it goes out to the world. So I don't know if any of that made any sense. It's a little early, and this is water, not coffee.
Sure, it's water.
Water.
Water. It's work from home water. It's okay.
Work from home water, exactly.
Hey, nobody knows what time it is right now. It's okay.
Spicy water.
Although I might have said good morning earlier, but maybe I didn't know whether or not it was morning.
And liquor stores are on the approved essential list. So
They are essential.
And local,
true.
support
And if you
local
don't
businesses.
Put ice in the coffee mug, like I always say,
Right.
they can't hear what you're drinking.
right.
That's true. Yeah, I made that mistake. But it is coffee. I promise.
There's some coffee in it.
Cool. Kyle, I have another question for you. I've always admired the culture at StoryVine. How have you managed to maintain your business culture while everyone's working remotely and from home?
I continue to be the smartass of the bunch. We've got a lot of our clients are on the East Coast, so we do a fair amount of webinars and remote working as it is, and Monique and Larisha both work from home a couple of days a week anyway. So we already had the infrastructure in place to be able to do this. I think the thing, we will occasionally do a hangout, although we're very busy right now. So, scheduling half an hour where everyone can be there is kind of hard. So we tend to do it in little groups of, 2 or 3. We'll sort of hop on. I just personally tend to, I don't know, I kind of have an internal barometer, like, are we too isolated? And if we are, I kind of, opportunistically do it and say, hey, let's get on and just talk about nothing. So we have a decent culture of that anyway. From working near us in the Catalyst building, Brandon, that, I'm a fan of walking around and, making jokes and things like that. Monique actually said yesterday or the day before, she misses, me walking around, lightening up the mood. Because, like what I've found at home is that when I'm working, I tend to go into a tunnel and like hours will disappear. And I end up focusing a lot more, and it makes it a bit more stressful. Like I find myself getting a lot more on edge because I'm not breaking up those work sessions with getting up to get water or whatever it might be. So, I don't know. I think just knowing what the culture is and then trying to maintain that the best way you can. And I don't think there's a right answer right now. I think everyone is just trying to deal. And I think that's okay.
May I recommend maybe just get a smaller glass of water to force you to get up and move more often?
Or get a bigger glass of water and you'll still have to get up more often.
Nice. Yeah, and I think having that infrastructure set up is pretty huge. At Cypress Data Defense, we've always had the ability to work remotely, so it wasn't as much of a panic as it has been for a lot of other people and organizations. I remember the last day I was working at the office in Catalyst, walking down the stairs, I saw 15 people running by the front door, carrying computers and monitors in their arms.
They didn't even work there.
Really?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
I've seen I was
Yeah,
teaching
go ahead.
out in Dallas when this thing was hitting, and a lot of the kids, I was teaching the science class, and a lot of the students, they were sitting there struggling to get like last minute orders for laptops for their companies so that people could work remotely. It was just nuts.
Yeah.
Wow.
We have
One of the things that we have done that is a really conscious thing. We're a video company, and we have historically done tons and tons of webinars, but it's mostly been on dial-up phone. And so we just made a conscious decision that we're going to switch everything over to Google Hangouts, and when we get on with clients, we turn the cameras on. And even if all the clients have their cameras turned off, we have ours turned on. And so it's just kind of a practice that we've been in. I've noticed on Zoom calls, a lot more people are turning off their cameras now. But one of the things, I'm actually going to do a blog post about this. One of the things that has been really fun for me, like in the past week or so, is rather than asking like, what's the weather like where you are, which is sort of the go-to icebreaker conversation when you're waiting for someone to join a call, is like, hey, what's that guitar behind you? Or, those look like albums. Like, what do you listen to? Like, and what's been really amazing to me is when you sort of point out something behind someone, they tend to get really excited about it. They're like, oh, let me show you this. They'll go pull it off the wall and bring it over, and like the electric bagpipes we saw earlier.
Aaron bringing out
that's
his
been really nice.
bagpipes.
So I think just maintaining that human connection while we're disconnected, that's been really important for me, and that's made it, I don't know, it's made it a lot more enjoyable, and I feel less isolated than we actually all are. So
Yeah, that's very interesting. I ruined that for you by having a funny Zoom background, but hopefully that contributes to your icebreakers. I've been contributing to. I like the backgrounds. I don't want people to see my house.
Yeah, Brandon, we all know that the only quiet room in your house is the bathroom, so
yeah.
I appreciate the office background.
I don't want to see your underwear in the towel rack.
Right.
So yeah, the office is a much better
choice.
background for you. We approve.
It's a public service.
Following where Steve was at, it was interesting for me because I was supposed to leave for Singapore to teach a class 2 days after they set the lockdown order, and they're like, oh no, you're still teaching the class, it's just you're going to do it virtually. So everybody was scrambling to find webcams and scrambling to find audio and that kind of stuff. And so when I got onto Amazon looking for a new webcam, there was nothing. There was nothing at Staples, nothing at Best Buy. So I got to go shopping in the closets. Like, what old piece of garbage do I have here, and how can I cobble it up to work? And I actually am pretty impressed with the way it worked. It's an old Microsoft LifeCam, but something I just found in the closet. Like, we can make this work. I haven't been on a video call with video for freaking 10 years, so I don't believe in that.
We
talking about
always use video conferencing real heavily internally, but we always have turned the camera off because we know
Same.
each other really well.
Yeah.
It's really a forum just to share our screens and have voice, right? But that has been a shift when connecting, Kyle, to your point, when connecting with clients.
Yeah.
It's important to turn the camera on, and we have such an ingrained habit because we've used this tool for so long that it's always off. And oftentimes as a public service to the other people that are on the call, but it's important to connect with customers to turn it on again, no matter how badly it shocks them.
That's interesting with customers because we've done the same thing, and we've actually started doing some virtual lunches where we'll order some Grubhub, send it to their house, and then just kind of sit and chat over it. And so they still get that kind of in-person, we bought you a meal kind of thing.
That's awesome.
But, it's been kind of fun. They've been really surprised. They're like, oh, that's why you asked for my address. Cool.
No, we're just stalkers, man.
That's just really creepy.
Yeah, when the security people ask you what your address is, I can understand why they'd be reluctant.
We're just doing it to be friendly because we already know.
We're asking out of common courtesy.
Right.
On that topic, I'm also curious, and this is a question for everybody. Have you seen any shifts in business, whether that be new industries, new sectors, different buying habits? Has anything changed for you guys in any notable ways since we've all been forced to work from home?
I would say from our perspective, we have a customer that is very big in food and beverage in the travel space, and they were impacted very heavily. And a lot of our companies, every present company included, were kind of set up to be remote. at the get-go. So this didn't really create big changes for us, right? But here we have this company that has their headquarters in Bethesda, Maryland, and they have to shut down their office and remote this big workforce. And it was a big scramble for us to help them suss out whether their VPN infrastructure could take all of their all of their users going home, and also at the same time, while their business is, for all intents and purposes, mothballing just to survive through all of this. Right. And then on the other side, we've had this tremendous surge of medical industry needs, because we have customers that are kind of peripherally involved in dealing with the COVID crisis that are trying to slam changes through the door and validate them as they're building the plane while they fly it. Which is really terrifying. So the big question is always like, okay, so you got it working and you cobbled a solution together. Now go back and check all the boxes and make sure you didn't leave any holes open or create unnecessary risks for yourself. So it's been a really weird, so parts of our customers have just completely cooled off, and others are going like gangbusters.
Right. And for those of everyone listening or watching, and I'll pin this to the guys at Cypress as well, but for Lark, what is it that you do, so that everyone has some context to when you say things like VPN and other techie terms?
Nick, you're better at the sales pitch. I'll tell everyone how to build a clock. So.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're up, Nick.
Follow that.
Yeah, perfect.
No pressure. No pressure. We just need your business in 30 seconds and go.
And wrap it up, Nick.
All right, thanks. Thanks, Nick. We'll move on.
I clarified it.
Yeah, so we're soup to nuts, design, build, implement, and maintain a security infrastructure, whether it's through policies and procedures, deploying security devices, equipment, testing that. We're also a high trust assessor firm, which is a certification validation process around the high trust common security framework. It's across multiple industries and verticals, but it's predominantly started out of healthcare. So we work with a lot of healthcare clients in that space.
Right.
But and just we're kind of compliance experts in various compliance standards.
Understood. Thanks for sharing. And then I'll throw it over to Aaron because he likes to talk a lot. Aaron, tell us a bit about Cypress Data Defense.
So we are an application security and web security, network security kind of firm. So our job is assessing and helping clients make their security infrastructure, security applications, just general web applications, mobile applications, all of that kind of stuff, safer. So we have kind of just seen the standard going along. Our clients, they've been web apps, so it's not like they have a huge push. We're not seeing a lot of new applications being onboarded, but we're seeing a few. So there's a few things going here and there, but for us, the change hasn't really been huge. A lot of our clients, again, are the same. They're kind of remote clients. So they live that way already. So it wasn't a big change for them. So for us, it wasn't a huge change.
And you're an application developer, software developer by background a long time ago. Do you think that software development?
A long time ago, Brandon. I'm not that old. Good Lord.
You're right. I was technically alive when you started developing software. So, do you think software development in general is going to be affected by this? Or is it? I know you said some software is not. Or new projects aren't being onboarded. Do you think people are slowing down development considering the new times that we're living in, or do you think they'll be?
I don't know that development's really been slowed down. I think really what's happened is that they've stopped and taken a look at, okay, what are our core serious things right now, right? We just literally had to push everybody out of the building. Let's make sure that the VPN is good. Let's make sure that the network is good. Let's make sure that the firewalls are still good and we can still admin remotely. Let's look at our hosting. Do we want to move it to AWS because we can admin that remote? We don't have to worry about the data center, those kinds of things. But I think that's just a temporary thing. I think they're still moving forward with development. I think that there's still, writing new features because when this comes out, they want to be staged and poised to be ready to hit it hard and make up for the last couple of months.
Yeah, and on that topic, actually, I have a question for you, security guys. I was talking to my auto insurance company the other day. I'm not going to give them a plug, but I was talking to them on the phone, and I asked the rep, "Are you working from home?" And she says, "Yeah, it happened pretty much overnight. Actually, everybody in the call centers got sent home, and then they shipped their computers, the desktops that they're working on there, to their homes, but they only shipped one monitor, and they were accustomed to using two so that they could have multiple things to look at while they were giving quotes. So she had plugged in a different monitor and apparently gotten like huge trouble with her manager because of the huge security risks she was putting everybody in by having an external monitor." Is that a real thing? I was like,
it's a risk to have a stupid boss. Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
I mean, good for them that they're looking at that. It's funny how many companies were successfully able to transition to a work from home model and to do things like that, but how many companies weren't?
Yeah.
The first several weeks, we got a lot of phone calls of like, "Hey, we don't have a business continuity plan. Can you help us with that?" I'm like, "Yes, but it's not going to do you any good right now."
Right. I mean, we might have helped you with that a couple months ago, but if we're going to do that.
Right.
Well, I almost feel like I feel like it was almost like a flip of the coin, whether you had a business that, got more important as a result of all this, or, got pushed to the sidelines as a result. And like, we happen to be one where the fact that we can do remote video production, that got more important. Like, I have no idea what that looks like. Like, I feel like long-term, it's going to be a good thing for the company. Everything got disrupted. So depending on which side of the coin our clients were on, we had projects that just stopped entirely. We had other ones that were just like, well, it's just paused for 2 months, but nothing's changed. Like, they're kind of in denial. Like, everything's going to be fine.
Right.
And then we had a bunch of new activity. And like, how I kind of experienced it was kind of the month of March was like everything went on pause and everyone went into fact-finding mode. Like, I need to get stuff settled and stabilized, and I want to learn as much as I can about Zoom and this and that, and what's StoryVine. So there was a lot of that. And then what happened for us is last week we had 7 kickoffs. So a bunch of stuff went away for like a month. And then when it came back like, okay, we're ready to start, and we need it Thursday. Like, everyone had urgency,
right.
because it's I kind of feel like they transitioned out of fact-finding mode, and like one of our nonprofit clients they sort of made the call that like, we're not going to have in-person events for at least 6 months, probably a year. So we're gonna operate assuming that's reality. And so once they sort of made the call of like what their assumptions are, now they knew exactly what they wanted to do. So when they came back in, when people are coming back in, they're kind of coming back in hard with a heck of a lot of clarity and a lot of urgency, which I find really fascinating. It's also been exhausting because we're just like, the past 2 weeks have just been like, ah!
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see a lot of companies stay working remotely. At least some portion of their workforce is going to want to stay home, or maybe they'll realize, hey, this is a lot cheaper when we have our entire sales department work from their house and we don't have to pay for their office or something along those lines. I think that
it's not even just whether they're working remotely or not. I just think it's like the balance of power. Like, anything that is digitally enabled, is probably going to get more focus. And so, I think security issues are going up. Like, I even thought like, you've got all these networks like at a much sort of lower level on internet infrastructure, like all of the data that was being routed to big business centers is now being routed through home networks, like just at a macro level. Like the changes are pretty profound, and we haven't seen major disruption, which I guess is, the internet is decently designed. It was designed to, withstand a nuclear attack. So it's transitioned pretty well, but like what are the implications of that long term? They're probably pretty profound.
Yeah, I agree.
The streaming video trend really primed a lot of the infrastructure.
Yeah.
To support that.
So you're saying Netflix saved us?
To an extent, yeah. Netflix and Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
True.
What the
all hail the Amazon.
Yeah, but what the carriers are struggling with now is, traditionally all of the home internet connections are really geared towards download.
Right.
And to participate
Exactly.
in video conferencing, you need egress bandwidth, and they're starting to figure out that they're having to balance out their networks a little bit more.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially
All
if
the
you live in the
assumptions about
sticks.
where the value in the network was just changed, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Cool.
Interesting.
I-
Go ahead, Nick.
Oh, kind of to Kyle and Aaron's points, it's going to be interesting to see over the next 6 months. I think there's a handful of different types of companies, people that think it's just one day everything's going to go back to the way it was, and they're not making any plans to deal with it. Others are, okay, this is what it's always going to be like, and there's some in between that don't know what they're going to do next, but they're waiting to see. And it's an interesting space with, and then to Kyle's point, we had customers that completely dropped off the radar, and others that just started blowing up the phones, and we can't move quick enough for some of the things they're wanting to do. So it's pretty incredible, the dynamic shift. I'm still waiting to see what it means long term, but
yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see how this progresses through this series of episodes and what you guys will be saying when I ask this question again to our new celebrity guest in a few months. I mean,
yeah,
what world we live in there, because it seems to be changing every day.
Yeah.
But I have some fun questions prepared.
I actually need to run. I've got a pitch I've got to go to, so I've got to run.
All right.
All right,
Thanks
well,
for
good
joining
luck.
us, Kyle. Good luck on your
All right, see
pitch.
ya.
Pleasure seeing y'all. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Kyle.
Okay, cool. So last question then, since it is 10:30. I noticed the other day, I read that alcohol sales have gone through the roof, probably mostly due to Brian over here. But do we have any favorite home cocktails, work libations? What are you guys drinking at home? And have you gotten creative? Oh, everyone grabs their cup.
What's in your mug?
I wasn't asking.
Jason.
I wasn't
Just
asking
coffee.
I wasn't asking for what are you drinking right now.
Oh.
No.
Oh, is that not a challenge?
No.
Right.
No.
Thought we had to finish it. The show was over.
No. Oh man, that would be an interesting way to end the show. And maybe we shouldn't be hosting them at 10:30 in the morning if that's the way you want to do it. But
Don't
to each
judge
their,
Is that a barrier?
to each their own. To each their own. So nothing from our panelists on what they like to drink at home.
Still drinking bourbon.
Still drinking bourbon.
Yeah,
Nothing's
it's pretty
changed for you.
much just bourbon and water croutons.
Had a new bourbon called Redemption Bourbon that was really good and cheap, and it tasted a whole bunch like corn mash, which I liked.
Yeah.
Yeah, trying
We-
new bourbons.
Is that
it's
Wolfgang?
fun to do the home bourbon tour, and plus you don't have to drive anywhere when you're done. So
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, nice.
Oh
Yeah,
wow,
the
we have
virtual
a
happy hour.
surprise drop-in guest, Wolfgang Wanless, joined today. Hi,
I've been here
Wolfie. Hi. I know you just piped in. Hey, pal.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I actually was considering using that background today, but you beat me to it.
Yeah.
Everything is fine.
Everything.
Well, cool. Yeah, it's 10:30. This was really fun. I say we wrap things up and everyone get back to their Thursday Blurs Day. But yeah, this has been the new normal. I want to thank all of our panelists. Thanks, Kyle, since he left. Thanks for joining us today. I want to thank the audience. Thanks, Wolfgang. Thanks,
Yeah.
Abby. We will be doing these every other Thursday. So if you missed joining,
wait, is that bacon?
Yeah.
Oh, restaurant man.
Now I just want bacon.
Okay. I apologize for everyone that's bacon triggered. I'll turn off Wolfgang's video. How dare you, Wolfgang? But yeah, we'll be doing these every other Thursday. So if you miss this time, join next time. I'll be sending out invites. You can find us on our websites at cypressdatadefense.com and larksecurity.com. I'll put up this episode there. And we'll probably also have it in podcast format if people just want to listen. But yeah, thanks for watching and see you again in a couple weeks. And take care, everybody.
All right, see you later.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Brandon.